So let's talk about something that I think a lot of us have felt. Why is it that we can get so stuck, emotionally, mentally, even when things on the outside look pretty good? Well, today we are going to get into the science of how you can literally, and I mean literally, rewire your own reality.
Just think about it for a second. Have you ever been there? You just nailed a presentation, got a promotion, had a huge win, and instead of celebrating, there's this little voice in the back of your head, this nagging feeling that you're just not enough.
And you know what? That feeling is so common. This quote really says it all. Imagine being at the absolute top of your game and still being haunted by thoughts like, I'm a fraud, what if this all disappears tomorrow? This isn't some personal flaw. It's actually a biological pattern that we get stuck in.
Yeah, that's what it feels like, right? Being stuck on repeat. And it's not just in your head. It's a real cycle with deep roots in our biology and our psychology. But the good news is, if we can understand the cycle, we can absolutely break it.
Okay, so what is actually happening in our bodies? It's this, the thought-feeling loop. See, our brains can kind of get hooked on the hormones of stress, things like adrenaline. You have a stressful thought, maybe, what if I fail? And your body releases these chemicals that, well, they make you feel anxious or afraid. And that feeling then makes you think more stressful thoughts, and boom, you're trapped in a loop.
And this loop basically forces us into one of two states. Most of us live in survival mode. That's where you're constantly looking at your past, all the worst-case scenarios, to predict your future. It's draining. It takes up a ton of energy. But there's another way. Living in creation. That's when you're in the present moment. Your thinking is open, creative, and new possibilities can actually find you.
So if we can get stuck in these survival loops, how in the world do we get out? Well, this is where the science of real, actual change comes in. And here's the most important thing to get. You are not permanently hardwired to be the way you are. You have the power to change your own biology.
This is the whole thing right here. Your body essentially is your unconscious mind, and it doesn't know the difference between something that's really happening and something you're just intensely imagining. So when you obsessively remember a painful experience, your body produces the exact same chemicals as if you were living it right now. You are literally making your body relive the past again and again.
Right, and this is the absolute game changer. Because if thinking about a bad past can make your body feel bad in the present, then what do you think happens when you start vividly imagining the future you want? You can make your body feel amazing before it even happens. This is the key that unlocks everything. So how do we get there? We have to slow our brainwaves down. Seriously, think of it like shifting gears in a car. Most of the day, we're in high alert beta. But when we relax, we can downshift into creative alpha. And if we keep going, we get to theta. And theta? That's where the magic happens. That's where the door to our subconscious operating system swings wide open. You see, in theta, that critical, analytical part of your mind, the one that's always telling you that's not possible, it finally goes quiet. It's like you've gotten past the security firewall, and now you can get in there and start installing new software, new beliefs, new emotional habits, directly into your core programming.
Okay, so that's the science. Pretty cool, right? But what does it look like in practice? How do we actually do this? Let's get into the step-by-step method for really rewiring your brain.
The main tool we're going to use is meditation, but I want you to set aside any ideas you have about it. For our purposes, think of it less as some mystical practice and more as a practical, scientific technique. It's the tool you use to access your brain's operating system and start consciously directing those unconscious programs. The process itself is surprisingly straightforward. It's really just 3 steps. First, you have to become aware of the old self. You have to notice the thoughts and feelings you want to change so you don't keep running them on autopilot. Second, you decide who you want to be and you mentally rehearse it. And third, you teach your body what that new future actually feels like. So this mental rehearsal part, what is it doing? Well, a belief is really just a thought you keep thinking. And when you repeatedly think new thoughts, you are physically installing new neural connections, new hardware in your brain. Do it enough, and that hardware becomes a new software program. You're literally making your brain look like the experience has already happened, which makes it so much easier to act that way for real.
Now, the point of all this isn't to pretend your past never happened. The goal is to dissolve the painful emotional charge attached to it. When you can look back at a memory and it no longer triggers that gut punch of shame or anger or sadness, that's wisdom. You've officially turned a painful experience into a lesson.
And this brings us to step 3, which is crucial.
You can't just think your way to a new life. You have to feel it into existence. When you spend just 10 minutes a day genuinely feeling emotions like gratitude or joy or wholeness, you are generating the actual chemistry of your future. And you're teaching your body what that new state of being feels like, long before it becomes your physical reality.
So what happens when you really commit to this? When you combine becoming conscious, mentally rehearsing, and feeling your future? Well, this is where the results start to get truly profound. This is you taking the controls and starting to create a new future on purpose.
And I've got to tell you, when it feels hard, and it will, when you're sitting there battling your old doubts and your body is screaming for that familiar shot of stress, that doesn't mean it's not working. That is the work. The struggle of telling your old self no, that is the very process that forges the new you.
Because real, deep belief in yourself, it's not something you can just decide to have one day. It has to be earned. And you earn it by showing up for yourself, especially on the days you don't feel like it. It's forged in those moments when you choose your future over your past, again and again.
And the payoff for that work is huge. It's not just in your head. You genuinely start to feel different. More joy, less stress. But then weird things start happening. Synchronicities, new opportunities, they just show up. And the science backs this up. People's brain scans change, their blood work improves. You prove to yourself, beyond any doubt, that you are the creator of your life. So in the end, it all comes down to this one choice. Are you going to cling to the familiar suffering of your known past, or are you willing to step into the unknown and take a chance on a new possibility? Your current personality is creating your current reality. If you want a new personal reality, you have to become a new personality. And that's really the question I want to leave you with. You now understand the model. You have the tools. The only thing left to decide is, what future are you going to start creating?
Today,